A plus plus plus. A plus plus plus. That is how the president is rating the economy in a new interview with Politico, despite many Americans feeling the opposite. Well, today, the president is kicking off an economy tour in Pennsylvania, as even some Republicans have sounded the alarm on affordability. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins me for more on this. Ed, good to see you, my friend. So how is the president going to sell this economic agenda to voters? How is he going to make them and this is something, Ed, that having covered the White House for as long as you have, oftentimes when a president, whether it's President Trump or President Biden, who attempted to do the same thing, try and tell Americans, no, what you're feeling at the gas pump, what you're feeling at the grocery store isn't what you're actually feeling because the economy is strong. Now the current president is facing the same challenge. So how's he going to do it?
Took the words out of my mouth, Vlad. That is what he's going to try to do today. And you saw the Treasury Secretary doing it on Sunday on Face the Nation, suggesting that the data would tell Americans that their income situation is a lot stronger than they may feel. But remember, the economy is not just about dollars, cents, and data, but about how people are feeling about the cost of things and their relative economic health. And right now, they're not feeling great about it. 36% approval for the president when it comes to its handling of the economy. So he's going to a casino and resort in the Poconos, understanding that perhaps this sales pitch could be a bit of a gamble. We're going to try that out, workshop it through the rest of the day, and see exactly which of those lines may work. But going to Northeast Pennsylvania, which is a corner of the state that will face one of the more competitive congressional elections next year, and it's to a district that is the kind of place where voters are going to hold the incumbent Republican accountable potentially, or at least end up in a close contest because of the concerns about inflation, about whether or not the president is responding as he should to these dour economic moods that Americans have right now. The chief of staff, Susie Wiles, here quoted in an interview yesterday saying that they're preparing the president for 2024-style campaigning on behalf of Republicans across the country. Remember, the struggle we've seen for the president and his party in midterm years, or years that he's not on the ballot, they struggle to get the Republican base to turn out to support those congressional and gubernatorial candidates. And so they understand he has got to be out there talking about this, encouraging the base to support Republicans and Republican policy. And we'll see if he indeed sticks to what the White House is describing as a positive economic message when he speaks later tonight. Remember, he has spent much of the last 2 weeks suggesting that this whole debate over affordability is a hoax. Just yesterday suggested instead that it's Democrats to blame for the affordability crisis and the policies they put in place over the last 4 years. But that blame the last guy argument can start to wear on voters going into that midterm year. So we'll have to see if he adapts that at all, either tonight or in the coming weeks.
Yeah, because in the wake of saying all of those things, he's giving $12 billion to farmers because they have said, they've said it on our air, how they've been hurt by these economic policies. And I want to play a little bit for our viewers and for you, Ed. I know you've seen this, but this interview that he gave to Politico, where the president suggested that he might actually roll back tariff rates for consumers. Let's play that.
Would you consider more carve-outs on other goods that Americans find too expensive?
Well, some carve-outs, you mean from tariffs?
From tariffs, yeah, like coffee, like bananas.
Sure, and I've done that already with coffee.
So, again, Ed, if the economy is doing well, if affordability, the issue at the heart of many people's minds right now in the holiday season, is a Democrat hoax, why is the president saying this?
Because there's an understanding that there are certain goods and services and crops that the United States doesn't grow, that if you put a tariff on them, it's going to drive up the cost. And so that's why you saw last month an easing of restrictions on things like banana and coffees from Latin America coming into the United States, key grocery staples, that the president understood had to be rolled back in order to keep the price from getting out of control, especially as we hit the holiday season. So where you see him saying there may be other such goods from other corners of the world that are imported into the United States that are going to have to see a change in tariff policy. But the other thing he's watching for, and he's warning about on his social media account, is the forthcoming Supreme Court decision on whether he can even implement these tariffs at all on his own without congressional involvement, suggesting overnight that dark and sinister forces might be trying to roll back his tariff policies. That's a direct hit at the Supreme Court, which could rule any day now on whether or not the president himself has the power to do that or whether it has to be done by Congress. Vlad.
Yeah. All right. Lots to watch for. Ed O'Keefe, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it. All right, so as we just mentioned with Ed, the administration is doling out $12 billion to struggling U.S. farmers, and the president says this long-awaited aid package is coming from revenue raised from U.S. tariffs. These are the same tariffs that sparked the U.S.-China trade war and led to the soybean boycott. The White House is also praising the package that some lawmakers say doesn't even scratch the surface of what farmers actually need.
This relief will provide much-needed certainty to farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year's crops, and it'll help them continue their efforts to lower food prices for American families.
A one-time payment for farmers is cold comfort for all the headache and anxiety and losses they've endured because of Donald Trump's trade war.
CBS News national correspondent Lana has been following the story for us for months, and she joins us now from Iowa City. So, Lana, you've done a ton of reporting on this, and we know that the farmers have been waiting for this aid. This aid is finally coming. Is it enough? And what are they saying about it?
Yeah, as far as it being enough, Vlad, it is not going to cover all the losses, especially soybean farmers have experienced. It's interesting in the two bits of lawmakers sound that you played, because both are true. In President Trump's case, it is absolutely true that this is coming at a vital time. Many farmers were worried and talking to their loaners, their banks, about the loans that they are struggling to pay off. And the House minority, or the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, who you heard there, is also right in saying that it is not enough. So I want to read a little bit of what we heard from the Iowa Farm Bureau. They put out a statement saying farm income is at its lowest point in 15 years, and farmers are facing severe financial stress driven by high input costs and declining crop prices, compounded by a lack of global trade opportunities. As the president noted during the announcement, farmers don't want aid, they want a level playing field, and this package provides critical support while broader trade discussions continue. It doesn't solve the underlying problem. Still, many farmers who are struggling are grateful for any aid that they can receive. Take a listen.
This is the time of year where, having a reliable source of income is pretty important for most producers. So anything the Trump administration can do right now to kind of get us through this time of year will be invaluable.
So it helps to offset some of the losses, but still soy prices are at its lowest point. And even if farmers receive the maximum amount that they can under this aid package, that amounts to $155,000 for many of the farmers I'm speaking with. That simply isn't enough to offset the losses. And in terms of long-term stability, they like to point out the fact that there is still no comprehensive farm bill that is 3 years overdue.
To a lot of the farmers, obviously you're in Iowa, but it's not just the Midwest farmers that are struggling. We're hearing this from other parts of the country as well.
That's right. And this does set aside in the $12 billion, $1 billion for other farmers that are not crop farmers. There's a lot of uncertainty about how that will be doled out. It's a much smaller percentage, but I want to play a little bit of sound from a farmer in California who is also a crop farmer as well. Take a listen.
It's the worst ever. It's the worst ever, because we're getting the same prices as my dad got in the 1970s. I mean, at that point, my dad was paying 50 cents a gallon for diesel, was paying $2 for wages. Everything was just less expensive back then.
So that really captures the problem there, Vlad. So many farmers talking about the parallels to what they saw from their parents' time in the 70s and in the 80s. And you'll remember at that point there was a major farm crisis in America. Farmers that I'm speaking with are hoping that this will help to offset some of those problems, but it's simply, they're saying, is not enough.
Yeah, it's a drop in a bucket. I recall that brutal period that you referenced, Lana, hoping that this does offer some relief, but it sounds like it perhaps will not. Lana reporting from Iowa for us this morning. Lana, always appreciate you. Thank you.